Hello everyone, welcome to yet another interview experience video by Coordinate Academy. So the sponsors of today's video are laptopservice24.com. You can check out their website in the link below. They can help you with all servicing solutions for your laptops and your PC requirements whichever you have. So, Coordinate, before we start off, I'd like to say something about Coordinate Academy. Well, this is not the first interview experience that we're doing, definitely. But each of these interview experiences videos helps people who are motivated to follow this field, to pursue this field in future, to go ahead and take care of the specifics which they feel can be useful in this field. So, besides the pros which we have, not pros, actually, the professionals whom we have in this field can help us a lot to progress in the way that we are going ahead. I myself am a student of BTech CS, and believe me, these interviews have helped me a lot, and from the comments that we have received from our viewers, they have helped us a lot as well. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Chandra Pratap Singh, who's a software engineer at EPAM, but that's not his only, identity, because he has been an inspiration to a lot of people who have interacted with him and worked with him at UEM Kolkata and in his present organizations. So Chandra Bhaiya, that's what I call him. So or CP Bhaiya, that's what we generally call him. So I'd like to refer to him like that. So CP Bhaiya, welcome to today's interview experience video. And I'd like to thank Coordinate for inviting you here, because this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. So starting off, like we although I know it personally, but I would like to like our viewers to know your experience of joining UEM Kolkata and surviving 4 years in UEM Kolkata.
Okay. So the very first thing before I begin, I would like to thank you and your team because I really appreciate people's like you and the founder of your company who organize all this kind of meetups, all these interview experiences. It helped a lot to me when I was a grad in our UAM or in my engineering college, and I'm pretty sure it helps quite a lot of students. I myself have done a lot of this kind of things while I was working, and also when I'm working, I kindly do all these things, and also when I was in college, I have done all those things. So I understand the effort which is required. You go out of your way and then you do something that doesn't pay you back a lot of money, but still you invest your time, your effort, your brain, and a lot of things. So I really like to appreciate you and your team, and I'm fortunate enough to join you in this interview experience session where I can share my experience, and I hope that it might help you of them. And I'm pretty sure that it will definitely help to the one who are serious and who really want to succeed at least in this interviews and all. So thanks a lot, Fabi and the team. And starting upon my journey in UM Kolkata, so I'll say that my journey in UAM was very different than every other people who is there. Like for every other engineers in UAM, it's a matter of attendance, for example, a matter of strictness and all. The rules were not different for me. Rules were same for me, but I managed my way out. I was not always resistance. I knew which class I need to attend. I knew and which class I need to skip. But one thing I was very clear about that even if I am skipping any class or even if I am not present in the classroom, I make sure that I never wasted time. I was never wandering or bunking or chilling with friends, for example. I used to do that, but not maximum of the times. So my experience in UM Kolkata was very good since first day. Everything that I learned helped me a lot, and not just in technical sections, but my management skills were earned a lot. Means in those periods, I went to different states, organized different events, and even in Kolkata, and also the respect which I got there demands the respect that juniors and the trust that juniors showed towards me. That was quite remarkable, and also sometimes it was pressure sort of thing, like if what if I don't succeed. There are a lot of people who follow me, or there are a lot of people who trust me. What if I myself didn't succeed? And it'll be like I was a zero and I was promising people to be 100. So that was always a fear in my mind. So that also motivated me to make sure that I leave no stone unturned to reach the goal which I wanted to reach. So that was my experience in UM, in which faculties, especially my juniors, helped me a lot in achieving that.
Thanks a lot, Bhaiya. So that was a very insightful thing, because mostly people associate not only just with UEM but with engineering colleges as a whole is that attendance
Yeah.
thing and mugging up and making
Yeah.
their way through classes and bunking classes. So this was pretty insightful. So keeping in track with that spirit of UEM, I would like to ask you whether, how was your culture of developing projects or developing innovation, or this innovative culture at UEM Kolkata, or the one which you founded, I would say. So how was it?
Yeah. I would like to answer this with a story. That this I was thinking few days back when I was on my bed. I was sleeping. I was going to sleep. I was thinking this. At the first day when I reached to UM, to get a job, but that was not my primary motive. I was very excited regarding one thing, that I am going to an engineering college. I'll be an engineer. I'll learn a lot of things. I'll learn to innovate. I'll learn machines. I'll make softwares and all. I was very very excited about that fact. So when I started, there was a lot of people from different geographies heading towards the same campus. That was UM Kolkata. Now when I reached it there, the first class which we had, and there people straight away means the faculty straight away started with job stats. That was a problem for me. I thought, yes, okay, we need to get a job. Very soon, the term job becomes so buzzing word there. Like everyone was talking about it, every department, every faculties or every classes, like we were learning to get a job. I thought I was very, I won't say uncomfortable, but I was feeling very incomplete. Like, okay, I really thought that are we being an engineer or we are being an employee? There's no harm in being an employee. I myself am an employee right now. But there's a harm in not being an engineer and being just an employee. And that doesn't help, right? So when I went there, I was like, okay, how is it different than my normal school? If I come to class, I have theories, I read theories, I go back, I give test exams. That is exactly same as what we used to do in school. How different it is. So at that time, I was very confused. And I saw that there were few of my close friends who were doing in management work. I joined them. I started doing events and all those things. But then again, I thought that for UEM, I'm focusing on that M. We are still losing on that E.
Yeah.
I need to do something that inculcates, at least that gives me satisfaction of being an engineer. And that was the point I came to know about Arduino. One of my friends, Sarif Aziz, he introduced to me to this, and I'm really grateful he did. So from that point of time, I started learning it, trying different things. I I used to visit Chani. I used to go to shop. I used to talk to shopkeepers. That what is this sensor? What is it? I used to do a lot of research other than my academic. So that's how I started learning Arduino. And I first met some of EC. So I guess all of your audience are from engineering background, right? So they would understand what EC subject is. So it's electronics. Basically, you can call it electronics. So it was an EC paper in MedSem. We attended that paper and I received zero. That MedSem result, I actually received zero. So that was quite shocking, but not shocking for me because I was never interested in marks till that point. Then few months after that, uh, I invented this one device known as hytometer. So that it got quite fame in the college. People, even faculties, used to come in break periods and used to measure their height. So it was something like a contactless height meter. So everyone they used to be line. People used to stand in queue to
Oh
measure their
God.
height. At that point of time, only we were in the college. Means only we were the first batch. So it was only first years. We were the first years at that point in time. So just after 1 or 2 months of getting zero, I invented that hytometer, which got a lot of popularity and all. And again, now in second semester, we again sat for EC paper, the same paper in which I scored zero. So can you guess what I scored this time?
Maybe somewhere close to full marks.
Yeah, it was out of 50. So initially it was 50 out of 0, and the other one you are guessing 50 out of 50.
Oh my God.
But the reality is that I scored 5 out of 50.
Okay.
And at that point of time, very different from all other students, I had already invented a device or means which is related directly to that subject, that is EC. That device
Definitely.
has sensors, that has microprocessor, developers boards and all wiring and all those things, all circuiting. So that was a device directly linked to that subject in which I scored zero. I invented it, and then again I scored five. Now you see, now this is the way we differentiate between a classroom program and being an engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you one more fun story. There is only one subject in which I got zero in my school academic from class nursery till class 12. There's only one subject in which I got zero. Can you guess?
Chemistry.
No, I was bad in chemistry, but not that bad. So it was computer.
Oh
In
my
my class
God.
4, I got zero in computer, and today I feel I'm quite a good computer science engineer. I have miss all the interviews, all my job. I feel I'm doing good in this section in computer science engineering. So that was the point. When I received zero twice in my complete career. So one was in computer. Today I see myself as a successful computer science engineer. Second was in EC, and I see myself even doing good things there. So, so that was the point I decided that okay, if I get zero in any of the subject, I know that I'll be doing something great in this life.
Oh God. That was pretty much huge.
So this comes as a conclusion that no matter what your score matters in school.
Yeah.
That was there. Now this was the point I understood difference between how I was what was my academic in school and how engineering college are different from it, or how it should be. We all mistake it, we run after marks, and like every time we judge people by pointers. I was in section D in our college. They used to rank people based on their marks. So it was from section A, B, C. Then each section used to have 80 to 85 people. So I was in section D. Rank wise, I was tad below. But when placements occurred, then I was the first person from our CSC department. Among the first persons, there were 6 people selected or 4 people selected. I roughly remember. So I was one of them. So all others were from different sections. Few of them were from section A as well. But me being from section D, competing from all these students from section A, B, C, and getting the first job offer from TCS Ninja it was, and that too through Code Vita. So that really spoke a lot of things. Means me not getting marks didn't affected me anytime. And by the way, it's not like I never got marks. My marks ranged like I have also got 5.8, and I've also scored 9.3. So I have lived my life
Okay.
like at all the levels, right? So I guess that's the reason I can connect with all sort of my juniors. Even if he's good in studies, even if he's not good in studies, maybe he's excellent and maybe he's average. I relate to all those people. So
Definitely.
so that you understand that was the point where I differentiated school from engineering. I differentiated being an employer from being an engineer, and that I focused. But what I found that I'm alone. I used to get a lot of engineering ideas at those point. I used to get a lot of project ideas, but I myself cannot make all of those things in just 4 years. I don't. I also didn't. I also couldn't invest so much of finance in it. So what I needed a team. I cannot do it alone. So what I did, I started taking workshops, and uh, I used to show them that see how easy it is. We just need to come out of that classroom zone and try to do something other than in your classroom. So I was very lucky. I got very good group of juniors who joined me in this, and I used to give them ideas. They used to build up by their own. Then they used to teach people, and this way, we formed this community. Or like initially, what was it that this technology or this projecting was very restrictive to 3 to 4 people. What change I wanted to do, and I was successful also in doing that. That I wanted to be accessible to all the engineers in my campus. It was in choice of the student if he wishes to take this path and be an engineer as well as being an employee, or he just want to be an employee and not an engineer maybe. So that also worked. Almost all the juniors who used to attend my workshops did great things. You are one of them, Sally. I remember your project, that e-cart and e-cycling one and all. So those are all are one of the best projects, which I wasn't able to do it from my side. I cannot invest so much finance. I cannot invest so much hours, so much efforts to do it. But those juniors who did it, which I never expected. Now really, I feel very proud of them that was so best decision to share whatever I have. And from that moment, I keep doing this. Whatever I learn, whatever I experience, I keep sharing it. It just people need to be in contact with me.
Yeah. So, you have had, like, in this journey that you just described, it just
Hmm.
shows us that your CGPA or your test marks are not the only ones that matter. And that's
Yes.
something that we've seen time and again. Because
Hmm.
in engineering, your marks definitely they matter. They, to some extent, they do. Like when you're going for placements,
Hmm.
I won't say they don't matter entirely, but when you are a single sheet of paper cannot decide my future, that thing to some extent it matters, especially if you're doing the right things in the right place. And that's something
Yeah.
that you did a lot, I believe, throughout your career.
I'll answer that. A single piece of paper may not decide our future. I feel very strongly feel this is wrong. A single piece of paper can decide your future if that paper is restriction, or what was that word? I don't
That
remember.
DC.
Yeah. I was Destigation. I guess it was
Investigation
something.
letter.
Restriction. If that is a restriction letter, it
Yeah.
can change a lot. And if it is a promotion letter,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
or even if it is a job letter, letter can, that is a piece of paper, right? That can change your
Yeah.
future. So it's not even a piece, even an ant or even a bacteria can change your future. It did for a lot
Oh
of
my
us,
god,
right?
yeah, definitely.
So if you compare it that way, but talking about marks, does marks means can we say that marks doesn't matter at all? Then no. Why? Because marks and examinations are the only way the other universities or people can judge how good have you performed
Yeah.
in so and so field, right? So there must be some criteria, maybe the most basic one, but there need to be some. That is this test. Now, all the companies which people sit in, they keep the basic criteria. Some keep it 60, some keep it 80, some even Sankalp conductors at our time kept as 9.0. So these marks do matter, but does it mean that you need to excel in it on the cost of not being an engineer, not developing your skills? No, because that's the thing. What they want, that I need an engineer who at least scored sufficiently enough. Like my CGPA of the 4 year is 8.6, so which I don't consider great. It's not above 9, but which is also not bad. I kept it average. I didn't ran after making my marks great. This is one factor. The other part is people think that okay, marks doesn't matter. I shouldn't care about exams much. Somewhere it's right, okay, you shouldn't be too much like you are caring only about exams. Like we engineers have a habit, right? We study only one day before exam. And that is true. And but nobody thinks why do we study one day before exam? Like what do we do for rest of the semester? We are never free. Like if engineers are never free, this is the fact. If you truly want to be one,
Yeah.
I'll see you all definitely have a choice. So what I used to do for the 6 months that I didn't have time to study. So our engineering syllabus is way behind. Technology changes every 2 to 3 years. This is a very
Definitely.
proverb. But when did our engineering syllabus changed? We learn web development in fourth year. Today, a school student knows how to make a website. So even now, even codings are also
Yeah.
going to school levels, and we don't even think about it. So what do we do for this 6 months? What we do is that we make ourselves skilled enough in the technology, so in the sections which is not covered in our curriculum. We cannot wait till fourth year to be able to understand the technology. That's why nowadays I used to target first years. Reason being simple that this is the time they can take a direction. I cannot take a third year boy who is focused towards their placement and ask him, hey, don't work for placement, don't care for marks, take this path rather. So that doesn't seem right. So just not caring about marks doesn't seems a very good idea. You need to care about marks, but on the other hand, the 6 months period, you need to invest it properly. You can go for internship, you can learn your skills, you can choose what field you want to go on, you can explore those parts. Like I used to do hardware as well as softwares. So, but I never used to waste time. That 6 months period, when you're not doing a curriculum activity, that is not a free time or free period sort of thing. That is something to work upon, something which is more important than your curriculum syllabus.
Yeah, so that's very important to note because people, yeah, the notion which you mentioned is very correct. People tend to say that you don't do anything for 6 months, you just study one night before exam. So that's not at all true, and that's
Yeah.
the real thing is something which you exposed right now. But I believe that a lot of people end up wasting their 6 months and then studying 1 month, one day before the exam even. So this,
Yes.
I hope our audience who are viewing this will understand, and that's one of the reasons why we are doing these interview experiences from Coordinate Academy, because Coordinate Group of Industries has plenty of you know uh, there are many avenues, but the stress on Coordinate Academy is to help people who cannot afford that normal stream of learning, or that something which is claimed to be very costly nowadays. But the aim is to make that affordable, and I believe these interview experiences play a huge role in these. So
Yes, definitely do.
yeah. So talking about that, I'd like to now move towards the twilight of your college life, the placement era, the ones which we
Hmm.
have been waiting for. So like, could you walk us through the interview experience and the interview procedure which you faced at EPAM?
Yes, definitely. Uh, so not just for me, like whenever a person go for an interview, this is what I say to all my juniors. Interview depends more, means it depends on your preparation and all everything, but it depends more on your interviewer. Like you must be shocked at hey, what
Yeah.
CP is saying. This is not true. I'll tell you how. For example, you are sitting for TCS. I'll take it. You shouldn't choose. You are studying for TCS. Now TCS recruits from EC, it recruits from CAC and other branches as well, right? Now, for example, there is a person who is from EC, got recruited in TCS. Now he is working on a cloud project in TCS. He learned and all. Now he is very expert in cloud, right? Now he was from EC background. Now he becomes an interviewer. Now he comes and he is your interviewer, for example. Now you say, hey, I am very good in web development. Your interviewer, he says, I don't know anything about web development. I'm very good in cloud. Now, what questions can your interviewer ask you? You see the gap there?
Yeah.
Now, it depends a lot there. If if you get the interviewer who has same skills or at least is familiar with what your skills is. For example, machine learning is very buzzing word, right? We write machine
Yeah.
learning, but it's not that common in industry yet. All CVs will contain machine learning, but how much is our interviewer knowledgeable in it? That also matters one fact. But now again, it boils down to is it something in our control? No, it isn't, right? So the only solution is that whatever we are writing in our CV, we must be 100% knowledgeable, 100% sure and confident of it. If we are not, then we shouldn't. Coming in the same way, okay, my EPAM interview experience is also uh, like sort of funny. Maybe I never intended to join EPAM, to be honest. It was just that I was in Pune. I was working in TCS Pune. I joined 1 week back, and that was the point. I used to sit for coding contests randomly. I got an email and I got to know that okay, you sat on one of the for EPAM. Few of my friends were sitting, I just sat with them. So I've cleared that and they want to interview me, and one of their location is Pune. So I thought that's okay. Anyways, I'm done with my training. So my training in TCS ended in 1 week. So I thought that okay, I'm done with my training. So maybe I can just give it a try. I can go. And anyways, I don't have any work to do today in TCS. I'll go there. That interview was that entire hiring was in Java, and I at that point of time used to hate Java. So and EPAM was very strict about like whomsoever they used to hire, they all were Java experts. Now, all my there were 5 rounds. I went. There was first coding round, so there were 3 questions. So that and programming language was only Java. I used to hate Java, but it was not completely unknown to me. Now, those who are from coding background, they know that coding doesn't depend much on language. Just need to set your logics correct. Any language can help you. It's just matter of time. So few languages, I mean, you can use few languages to optimize the time better, and other ones take a bit more. So that was Java, but that wasn't a problem for me. I used to know it, but I didn't used to like it. So I coded in Java. All my 3 questions were correct. Got selected. Then the second round. So there were first 2 coding rounds, all cleared. Then there was GD. Again went there. There was a quite good topic. Now on GD there was 50% selection. Just 10 people would sit, 5 would be rejected, 5 would be selected. So I cleared that. Now after every round, I was being tensed. Why? Because I didn't report it in teachers that I'm not in office. So I was being told that hey, if you want to reject me, I was always waiting. Okay, I'll be rejected in this round. I'll quickly go back to my office and I'll give my attendance. As who knows, I have not informed them, right?
Yeah.
And that was first week. I was very worried. So after GT, I thought, oh my god, I am again selected. Should I go back to teacher or should I give the next round? I thought, okay, I've come this way. Let's give the technical round. I said for the technical round, and now technical round you cannot pass without Java, right?
Definitely.
So there was so I said my interview was very good. He made me comfortable. I said there were few discussions on Java, basic things which I knew. There was coding. I straight up told him. I was very honest in my interview, in all of my interviews. Today I don't like Java much. I've done this things. I've experienced in this things. I like coding, but I don't like Java much. Then he gave me coding questions, few of the good questions. I solved it. I solved along with him. So that was a good interaction. After that, he told that your coding skills are good. You need to work on Java. Then I told, yeah, I know basics of Java. My interview replied, very basics. Now, this was the time that I got to know that okay, this is an indirect sign that okay, your Java is not that good. I rejected. I went out of the interview room and I was waiting, and that they called the volunteer who was there. So he went to ask my result to my interviewer, and interviewer asked him to wait. He came out and I told him, hey, can I go? Because I was pretty sure that I'm rejected. And I wasn't at all sad about it because I never expected to be selected. Then, then after he told, no, please wait. So I told, okay, maybe the interviewer is maybe he's doing some of his work or maybe he's having tea. Then after 5 minutes, the volunteer again went. Then he took my CV out and he told me that wait for HR round in this particular section. Now I couldn't believe it, right? I couldn't believe it. I said, no, there's a mistake. Are you sure? I told, no, you're selected. You have cleared the technical round. I literally asked him, how come? My interview was very bad. I couldn't do things in Java. Then he told me that's the reason he took time. Then I thought, okay. Now I was confused that whether should I take him or I shouldn't. So you can say that my EPM was by luck. He might have rejected me that time. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But fortunately, he selected me. Then again, then there was an HR round. I said my HR rounds or my technical rounds. I try not to lie. So then they asked me, you are from Kolkata, but why are you in Pune? I told them that I joined TCS 1 week back. Now there was second this confusion. Means the big thing. The HR says he joined the company 1 week back, and you are appearing for other companies and you want to leave your previous company. I told yes. That moment. So then it was like, why you are joining for 1 week? But this company is not good for you. You have just finished your training. You haven't did anything, right? So that was a lot of intense discussion. I handled it at that point. I don't know how. It was something presence of mind. I was able to handle it. And I spoke quite a very good dialogues at that point of time. So even then that discussion was also quite a lot. It include political discussions, it include and all everything. And then I was told that okay, we'll let you know the result. Now you can go. Now I rushed from that point to my TCS office, marked my attendance, came back home. So this was my entire EPAM interview way how it went. And after some time, I got after 1 week or so, I got the offer letter that okay, you are selected. Your joining can be from September and all. And that was the point I decided. Okay, now I have EPAM. I have heard about its training. And in TCS, I was mapped to Java project. I thought, okay, this is the point. Maybe I can switch. I'm getting a good pay. I'm getting almost the double pay. I have JavaScript as a technology in EPAM, which I wanted to take. So everything seems good in EPAM. So that was the point. I switched from like even just after 3 months working in TCS, I switched to EPAM.
That was very insightful because a lot of people have this fear of switching job. Definitely, the fear of switching jobs is there, but the confidence of having one job and then going for another one. That's important because you need not stagnate at somewhere in life. TCS, maybe,
Mm,
yeah, TCS is definitely a good company. Even I got selected there, but
mm,
it doesn't always mean that you have to stick to one place, and you have to stick your learning to one place, because ultimately we have to
mm,
keep learning, definitely. So since the context of TCS came up so many times, so could we just
mm.
go a bit back and could you walk us through your TCS experience, starting from
Yeah,
the
definitely.
interview to your limited training and work, everything?
Yes, yes, definitely. So in TCS, like TCS, to be honest, is very good company, no doubt on that. But it's just that if you get an offer better than that, because a company single-handedly doesn't decide, right? You are in TCS, you might be in a project that is not suiting you the best.
Definitely.
We don't mean that that project is bad or that company is bad. Might be that project is not suiting you best or that technology is not suiting you best. You have an option, on the other hand, to join a company where the technology you feel is will suit you, where you feel that that pay will be better for you, then there is never a harm to switch. That's the first thing. You need to be confident that there is no harm in switching if you do it legally. I paid the amount to teachers, whatever was all the legal things. I went through all it, and I wasn't doing anything illegal, right?
Definitely.
Do anything illegal, you shouldn't worry. You should go for it if you feel the other one is better. So that was the first thing. The other thing, how I got placed in TCS. So TCS was the very first company. Like TCS is the company I got selected, and TCS is the company from which I got rejected. Both,
Okay.
like there was only one company from which I got rejected, and that was TCS. And TCS was the first company in which I got selected as well. I guess
Okay.
all of you are confused. I'll clarify it. My this story. So I appeared for Code Vita at our time, and I was quite very serious about it because at that point of time, in everyone's of our mind, job was rotating, right?
Yeah.
And I was quite good in coding, not the best and all, but it was sufficient enough for my placement preparations and all those things. So I had that coding approaches and all. So I set for code Vita. At our time, there was a set that if you are able to solve one question, then your selection is guaranteed in code Vita and all those things. So I sat down. I tried for my first question, tried, and it worked. It got accepted. I really got very excited, and it was a 6 hour long challenge. So after that, I started attempting the second one, and after 1 or 2 hours, when the first one got accepted, now I was like, okay, now let's take it lightly, which was the wrong decision, obviously, because I wasn't doing it for rank that time. At that time, I need to get the first rank or second rank. I got at least a bit comfort that okay, one question is done. I should try for more just to be safe on the other side. I was eating the samosas and all, taking my snacks along in the contests and all. So suddenly, then second question, also the one which I tried, I was able to solve it. So it got accepted. No, I started fearing. I don't know why. At that point of time, there was this sense of fear. After I did the second question, I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? There was one question required. I thought I might won't be able to do even one. I have done two. Is there something wrong or not? Then I tried for three. You see, the confidence, there was a fear, but this confidence gets boosted up a bit.
Yeah.
And there was this third one. When I tried for the third, I was able to get the logic correct. I was writing the code, and then I didn't have enough time, and the test got submitted. But I was very happy in that moment. That okay, I got, I was able to do two questions. Now definitely I am going to get the interview call for Codevita, and I'll start preparing for interview and all those things. I was confident, and that was my mistake. I shouldn't be confident, though it didn't happen with me. But I saw a lot of examples where they did their questions were accepted, but they didn't got the interview call. Fortunately, I got one. So after a week or so, I got one. That okay, day after tomorrow is the interview. That was the rush time. But we engineers are expert, right, to study one day.
Yeah.
So that was 2 days for me. So still, I didn't wasted the first day. I did. I revised OOPS, Java, all that I could. I really think till date that in those 2 days, I learned a lot of things. Instead, all my 4 year curriculum or all my 4 year syllabus, I revised in those 2 days. That that was great. Now, the day came, my thesis Ninja interview. I went there. We were waiting. Now, people those who were selected from CodeVita, their interviews was going quite long, like 1 hour, 45 minutes minimum. It was going. So it was my first interview at that point. I was a bit nervous as well, but at the same time, the more concerning thing was that I was hungry. So when I'm hungry, I cannot think. I don't know what happens when I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I cannot focus anywhere. So somehow, like I was waiting for since long time. Then my turn came. I went inside, sat there. Like I told, like in EPAM, my coding skills helped me to get into EPAM. Same was the thing in TCS. In TCS, they asked me, fortunately, they asked me all data structures and all. They asked me my coding, my logics, and all those things. Then they gave me codes, they gave me star patterns, the diamond patterns and
Yeah.
all. They used to make using stars. You
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was this diamond pattern they gave me. So I was now this what happens that your brain I feel your brain runs 30%, I mean 50% slower in interviews. You appear to interview with half of your brain with half of your knowledge. That's true. So that
That's
was the
true.
same thing with me. I was struggling in making the star patterns, which was peanuts for me a few minutes back.
Yeah.
So, but still, I managed to do it. The other person helped me, and it was so embarrassing for me that hey, I did. So I was talking about with him for dynamic programming graphs and all, and I wasn't able to print diamond structure properly. So that was one point, but he helped me out. He fortunately I understood it well. The technical was done properly. Then it was on the other side when my managerial round. My for me it happened in one round only. So the other person started managerial. I don't remember exact question. It has been 2 years now, but so the question was this way that he asked me that for example you're on a project, you're a project manager for example, you do not have time, you are reaching your deadline, you do not have time enough to deliver your product. At the other end, you also do not have resource, human resource. You do not have more engineers to speed up the work. What you will do? Now, this was the question. Generally, what will happen if you have less time? You will increase the engineers, which
Yeah.
shouldn't be in ideal conditions. We have read it in our software engineering subject.
Yeah.
But ideally, with all those technical points aside, if we have less time, I'll increase the resource to speed up.
Yeah.
Vice versa, if I have limited resource, I'll ask the client to extend the deadline. I don't have option for both. We are reaching deadline. I can ask the client to extend the deadline. Now I was confused. I took 30 seconds. Then I answered that I won't wait for this situation to come or this type of thing to happen and then took an action. At the very initial state when I would be planning for this deadlines and all, I'll keep plan B ready. I'll have a plan A which I'll execute. And at that point of time, I'll decide that okay, if this things happen, this is the way which I need to go. And this I'll ensure, or I'll try my best to ensure that I won't ever reach in this condition. Even if I reach there, I must have a plan B already equipped. So though it was a wrong answer, I myself was not satisfied by my answer, but it somehow, somewhere or the other, satisfied the other person. I don't know why or how, but it did. He was happy with the answers, and that question I really felt like, okay, what can I do? You have cut on both my hands, but somehow I managed to answer that. So then, now I'll tell you one more very important fact, which will help all your audience. That in interview, what happened that there was my very dear friend, my childhood friend Ankit Gupta, and he was from same batch. He was even a topper in UEM. So what happened? We both had interview at the same timing in the same campus and everything. So what happened? He went for interview 10 to 15 minutes before me to a different panel. Then I went. Then our interview was done. So when this happens, when you are in interview room, you cannot relax for 5 minutes. You feel like it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I came back from my panel. I see he's waiting for me. And I told him, hey, I guess that my interview didn't lasted even for 30 minutes. I think I'm rejected. Because for everyone, when I was waiting, I was seeing that for every minute, 45 minutes or 1 hour. But for me, it seemed that okay, it was too quick for me. Wasn't even 30 minutes, which was not in reality, but it seems like right. So I told him, I think we are done. So I was waiting to go back again even in this company. I was sure that okay, I'm not selected. Maybe I'll try some other way. I'll try for. I was making my strategies. Okay, how I need to approach it better. What I did wrong. So that was the point. Whereas I asked Ankit how was it, so he told no, his was very good. Told my technical went very good, but at the end the HR came and few questions I wasn't able to manage well for HR questions. I told yeah for my managerial also I gave some answer, but I don't think it will matter much. Yeah, so we were confident that Ankit is selected and I am rejected. Now the person come. Now we were waiting in the waiting area. The person comes with a list. He calls out the name. So he calls first set of name. He forms the line and he asks people to leave. That he calls out the name. The people come and stand in the queue and he told you all are rejected. You all can leave for the day. After some time he again came. He called out the names. People made a queue and he told you all are rejected. Third time, and every time he used to come, I was waiting for my name, right? So that it is I can leave or okay. Third time he came, he called out the name. He called out my name as well in that queue. I got sure that okay, I'll go home or I'll wait for him outside the campus. We formed the queue. Now the person told that rest all of you, those who are not in queue, you all can leave for the day. And all those who have made the queue, take your documents and come with me.
Okay.
This was the point. Very shocking. Why? Because Ankit was rejected. He didn't got his name in the queue. And trust me, this is the most difficult time I was thinking that, oh my God, he is the one so deserving. He is the one so best. He is not selected. He is my friend. Now I'm selected. I don't know how to react. He don't know how to react. We were standing there. We were confident I am rejected. He is selected. And I'm very sure he will be happy for my selection. But at the same time, how will I deal with the situation? My best friend is rejected there, even after giving the good interview. So at that point of time, I was not very happy or either sad I was selected, but I was in a very confused state. Right? So we came back. I didn't spoke much to Ankit, but somehow this was a thing. I used to. I was capable of motivating people. So I talked to him sometime later, and then things went out. And when the TCS gave offer letter to each and every one of them, then what happened? He also received the offer letter, and I also received the offer letter. So he
Okay.
wasn't rejected, but but yeah, so he wasn't rejected. So now we both got TCS Ninja offer. I felt okay. Now I was feeling much better, right? Because if you feel someone is better than you and he gets rejected, you feel equally bad. Then, then this was my TCS Ninja when I got selected. Soon after, we had a chance to sit for TCS Digital. TCS Ninja was giving us package of 3 point something. Ninja was giving us for 3 point something. Digital had a package of 7. So we all were very excited. Okay, digital, digital, digital. It was a buzzword. It was something a matter of great respect to be digital at that point to even to clear it. So we appeared. We went to TCS Kitobita and there was a test again 2 rounds of coding. And for that test, I practiced dynamic programming very well. I honed my coding skills and all everything. We went for the test. I sat on the thesis. We appeared for the test, and when the result came, again I cleared the test, and Ankit didn't. But now again, that was Teachers Digital was something where we all actually wanted to go. Yes, we were desperate to be in Teachers Digital at that point. So the test that worked for me, oh no, sorry, yeah, that test I cleared it, and the difficult part was that only I from all of my batchmates was able to clear it. I was alone in preparation and everything. I was alone. I went to there alone. And I guess when I went for the interview, there was odd 100 people who were giving the interview at that point of time or in that entire day. So we went for the interview. Ankit was not selected. I gave my interview. I told them that okay, I have web development. I did this. I made website. I made website for government events. This that. And one thing I forgot that the person who I'm talking to, he's an industry expert. Because he's working in industry. So whenever I say that, hey, I took care of security. Security means something very different for me. Security will mean something very different for him. I made a web portal which was used to take tests. So you can host tests there. I made that as my project. So I told that, hey, I implemented security in my test. What security did I implemented? That students were not able to copy the questions. They were not able to change the tabs, or even if they were changing their tabs, we were recording it, and all those things was added as a feature. I told that, hey, I have added security. If people won't be able to limits. The host will get on and everything. Now security, as soon as I told I've implemented security, the other person told how. I explained, he told no, this is a feature. How you apply security. And till that point, I didn't even had any idea that what security he's talking about. That was network security and all, which was away. Then the other question they asked me, okay, you need to I I I made my web development so big, so sounding so big to them. That the second question was, okay, for example, you want to live stream on your website.
Yeah.
How will you do? I told, okay, I'll live stream on YouTube. I will embed a YouTube video on your web page, on my web page, and this is the way I'll able to live stream on my web page. It will no, you're live streaming on YouTube. And what I'm asking you, that you have a DSLR camera or any camera, whatever you are recording from this camera should directly be streamed to your web page. You can use a server. Now at that point, I was like, what is it? And now what I was thinking in my mind, that hey, if I would have known this much, I would have gone to YouTube to get my interview. I wouldn't come to DCG. But that was very wrong. I realized it later. But again, that was my interview experience in TCS. Rejected. But this was the time when I want to be selected. For all the other times, I was very sure that I'm rejected, but I was getting selected. This was the time when I wanted to be selected, and I was standing there, and the person came and then gave me the my CV and told, "We are done for the day. You can leave." And it was the first time. Like, this is the only interview I got rejected, so I really felt bad because this was the only one I wanted to be selected in. Fortunately, okay, I'll say Ankit's story along with me because I feel that is important to know. So I was rejected from TCS Digital at that very moment, and the gap between TCS when I qualified for test and when the interview happened, there was a gap there, a week or so. In that gap, there was one company named as EQ Technology.
Okay.
They came to recruit us in our campus. So we all set for it,
Yeah.
and yeah. So Ankit managed to grab off of it. He wasn't also
Ah,
very
that's good.
sensitive to
That's good.
afraid
That's good.
that pack of that year. So so Ankit, who was rejected from TCS digital test, now even before I could appear for the interview, he was having an EQ offer. That was of an 8.5, and he was rejected from a test of 7 and 3 package. So now you see how things go different. Like now, what will you say? Ankit
Yeah.
wasn't prepared enough. Wasn't he good enough? He grabbed something more than TCS within a week's time. That was also luck. Definitely, in all your interviews, your luck matter. That was definitely luck, but moreover, definitely his rejection never meant that he was not good enough. That is the first thing which you all need to know, that you, when you are being rejected or you are being selected, it's not just you, it also matters upon your interviewer.
Yeah.
Happens, it's like Tinder, I'll tell you, I'll be frank, it's like Tinder. If match happens, then you are good to go. If match doesn't happen, if your ideology doesn't matter, matches or things go that way, they reject you. As simple as that. So, so that was the point when, and I got rejected from TCS Digital. Now, when we appeared for the test, when I qualified for the test, how was the thing that okay, I'm going for a 7 LPA company, and my best friend Ankit, he's settling down with 3 LPA. I wasn't feeling very comfortable with it. Just in week times, things got converted. Now I'm settling down with a 3.3 LPA package, and my friend is going for an 8.5. And I was happy for him. I was really very happy for him because at every step he was much better than me. So I wanted him to see at some place these things. So that happened. Then since my training started in so this is how I was selected in teachers, and at the same time I was rejected from teachers as well. So I was selected for teachers ninja, and I was selected for teachers digital. And sometime our training began, and when we were preparing for our training, I thought that no, the training was online training for first 3 months. It was ILP. So in online training, we used to attend the training, and we used to submit our assignments and all. And those assignments and tests, I was thinking that okay, this I'm not performing very good here. My offer might get cancelled, which wasn't true definitely. But at that point, we had no one to guide, right? Every negative thing that can come to our mind comes at those points. So I was thinking that okay, my training is not going that well. I'll get my offer won't stand in TCS. Now I'll be jobless again. I cannot see that. So one point at that the same point, uh, Cognizant offer came from MCAT at off campus. Cognizant offer. I wasn't sitting on campus and all because I had this notion that okay, I have my one job. I shouldn't waste any other seats. So I was very concerned about this thing. So I never sat for any company job initially. TCS. I'll explain how I sat for all the 4 companies. So in training, I thought that okay, I'll get rejected. I won't be able to do this training, and my offer won't stand in TCS. Now I have fear of being jobless. I need to have at least one backup that if this training doesn't me, I won't be jobless at least. I went for TCS. I went for CTS, and there also there was one day interview, very good and very
Yeah.
different sort of interview event that was there. So I got selected in CTS. Now I was settled on that okay. If not TCS, I'm all settled. I'm all comfortable. I joined TCS. I worked there for a week, and then I was mapped to a project where I was just a buffer. Like there was nothing really something that I was doing there. I means I was there, but I wasn't very happy there. Why? Because I first thing I was mapped to Java. So my training there happened is like you were trained on Java, but they take one test after 1 week. At our time, it was this. It was a 3 months or 5 weeks training. Sorry, but if you clear that test after 1 week, then you don't need to appear for this 5 weeks or 8 weeks training. You can direct away the map to projects. So I set for that test. We cleared it. So my training was over in 1 week in the first week itself. So now I was mapped to Java project. So I was uncomfortable with the fact I wasn't uncomfortable in the company. Company was very good. Things was good there, but the only fact which I was not being comfortable with was technology. And at that point, I had no idea how things work in Java and all. But I was somewhere in my inside me, I had this intuition that no Java. I never liked it in my colleges. I don't want to now take it as my career. I used to do web development. I thought, okay, maybe JavaScript can be the solution for me, or front end development can be something good for me. So that's where a call from EPAM came for the
Yeah.
interview. After that 1 week, and I went there. Now, when I when I came back, by that time I was sure that okay, I need to switch. This is for sure. I need to switch.
Okay.
Now, on EPAM side, I was not very sure if I'll get the offer or not because after I was leaving my older company after 1 week, that might have mattered in that HR round. So I'm very sure. I wanted to have one offer so that I can switch from TCS. So I went for Decode. That gave me some or something as such. So, okay, if I start explaining that again, it will be a big answer to one question. Maybe if we have time, we can discuss our CTS and decode experience as well. Decode one was the epic, man. It's like I can write a comic for decode interview. So, and all of these things, one thing you will notice, the only thing that mattered for all of my interviews was my coding skills, and nothing more
Yeah.
or less than that.
Did the coding skills
So
thing work out for your decode interview also?
that was the only thing that worked out. That was the only thing that worked
Okay.
out. Decoding.
Okay. So decode was off
Well,
campus, right?
yeah, only none of my offers are on campus. Ninja was through CodeVita. Diesel never came to our campus. After that, I didn't set for any company on campus. Cognizant was again through AMCAT, and there was pull. I went to TCS CTS office to appear for all those tests and all.
Okay.
So those were off campus. EPAM was through some coding platform. Maybe CodeChef or HackerRank. I don't remember on which platform I kept that test. So that was in Pune. Again, Decode was through AMCAT in Pune.
Okay.
Offers were actually on campus.
Uh, that was although it might seem from your perspective that it was a little long, but it was very resourceful and it was very insightful because these things, these are not known to a person when he's or she is appearing for their first interview. For example, the security thing which you mentioned, that's
Hmm.
obviously most of us do, means obviously now we know, but our most of our audience who are in second or third year, they might not have that idea of security or network security, right? So that's something that's very important to note, and definitely the experience was fruitful because it brought you where you are now. So in this context, I would like to ask you a particular question. Uh, so, like for example, you are from after you joined your office or joined your company, we had this COVID-19 lockdown and
Hmm.
we had everything. So your transition from offline, totally offline mode, I would say, because going to a particular office and everything. So your transition from there to a totally work from home approach, from a
Hmm.
point of view of a person who has just got into the industry. So
Hmm.
what is your take on that?
Okay, personally for me it went quite well. I saved a lot of money, but if I talk about work, so your home is a home. When I go to office, the moment I enter it, till the moment I leave it, I'm focused in one job. That's the job I'm assigned. Maybe it be coding or this ticket, that ticket. Maybe I'm implementing a feature, or maybe I'm correcting a bug. I'm focused on that. But now when I sit to work in my home, now I got up like in every 20 minutes. I'll get up for at least one of the other thing. Maybe I'll go to take photo, or I'll go to, maybe there's someone ringing my bell, or there's something I need to talk to my mom, or my brother needs my help in his studies. Maybe I'll get up. So the consistency is there. So does it mean that I'm allowed to hamper my work? No, definitely not. If even I'm not in office, this becomes my responsibility that I take equal points, I deliver those equal points, even if I'm doing it at night, late morning, yes, early morning, it doesn't matter. What matters that in my 24 hours, I need to deliver them the work which is equivalent to 8 hours in office, and I make sure it. As there's a problem with me. Like if I don't work properly in a day, I won't be able to sleep. When you get into industry, you will get this. Like
Yeah.
if you haven't made your day productive, you start getting this guilt feeling that hey, I'm being paid. This is a very bad thing. Not bad thing. It's actually good with me that even if I work 1 hour less, for example, maybe for valid reasons, I'll feel like hey, my 1 hour cost to the company is this much rupees which I'm being paid. I'm stealing this much rupees. I'm not earning it. So this money won't, I won't like to spend this money. That gives me a feeling of that I am robbing the company or something as such.
Yeah.
So I make sure that in a two sprint time, whatever we have taken off, I deliver more than the point which was taken from me. Till this point, I'm able to do it. Like whatever points I take for me, I complete those. I help other developers to do it, and at times I also solve their points because we need to reach the deadlines. So this is how I have maintained, but it's not easy. If it was office, it was easier for me. I used to go there 8 hours. I used to get up from my seat maybe twice or thrice, once for lunch, maybe once for tea and all, and for washrooms and all. Twice maximum 4 times, not more than that. And I'm focused in one thing because everyone around me will be doing the same thing. Everyone remains focused in their job. So that one thing which we are lacking. But on the other side, it's also profitable. How come? I was paying 11,500 rupees as my rent of PG when I was going to office, like I was staying in other state. Now I've saved so much money. I have saved maybe around 1 lakh rupee, which I would have spent on my living. Now this lakh rupee, saving this lakh rupee is a huge, uh, for being like if we come from a middle class family, or if, even if you are son of an Ambani, saving money is something everybody likes. So,
Definitely.
yeah, that helped. That helped a lot on financial sector. Somewhere or the other hand, it wasn't that good for the work if you are not disciplined enough. From that point of time, I'm disciplined. I log in at my work, I make my work priority. And after that, what I did is currently I try to maintain this as my office. I log in at a particular time. Time duration from my log between my logging in, logging out, dedicated to the work. I avoid all those things. It's not very easy, but I try maximum of the time that no, I won't do any other job. Currently, I'm focused on it. I'll do it. All other things will wait till 7 or 8 p.m. till I log off. So that is how I'm able to maintain it from the experience part. But there's a difference between going in office and working and work from home. Office is best for working, home is best for relaxing. We cannot merge these two.
Definitely. So that was very insightful, because the current scenario that we have around us has, it has obviously, it's although it's been almost a year, but still it takes some time to get used to it, and the
Yeah.
challenges which you said are very real. So
Yeah,
before
we
I
need
would,
to be disciplined.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So before I would like to end this session, I would like to ask you one last question. So,
Yeah.
if you come across, for example, by some method, hypothetical method, you are able to come
Mm.
across your second year self, or
Mm.
Chandra Pratap Singh in second year CSE.
Mm.
So, what would you tell him right now?
This might sound odd, but the only thing I would say is you're doing great. Keep on whatever you are doing. Do not stop. Because I never regret whatever I have done in my past. I've scored 5.8, I've scored 9.3. I've ranged towards all of these marks. Rated current, at least I have this thing now that I never regret anything. Whatever I did added to my experience. Even the paper art and crafts which I used to do in my school days has helped me a lot in my TCS office. You won't believe it. So I won't say anything to change. Whatever was done, that was done very perfect. Regret is the deadliest disease. One thing I follow, I never regret anything. My second year was best. He was doing a lot of electronic projects. He was training people. He was building projects. He was seeing all the things in the colleges, and I got a very good experience. You should continue doing it.
Ah, so that was unique because having a no regrets approach is great. Like you don't have to don't have to look back at something and say maybe I could have done that better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because whatever you did back then forms what you are now. You learn from those mistakes, and you've come out from that every stage of life that you crossed, you came out from all those, and that cumulated into something which you are today. So that's very insightful. So
I'll just take two more minutes of you just to give an example on this point. This will really help you a lot.
yeah, definitely.
I used to do a lot of art and work paper stuffs. Means, I was very bad in my studies in my school days. I used to hardly pass. Yes, my percentage was always near about 50%, 48%, never reached 60%. Other than boards, in boards everyone scores fairly well. So other than that, my average marks was very low. But what I was good at, I used to tear pages from my notebooks, and then I used to make airplanes, a lot of things. I used to have my pen stands, my wallets, and my keychains. Everything was made up of paper. I used to make it myself. Now, my family members and all of the other things would used to think that okay, he's not studying, right? All this is wastage of time, whatever. And after when I stopped doing all this, and when I used to think at that time that okay, this is not helping me out. it's all just waste of time. I need to study, and I'm not studying. I'm doing all the things. But there was one day in TCS when my team, when we had this competition in our team, when we were called, and there was team formed for three people, and there was one task given. There was I won't go much in technical details, but roughly it was that you need to be quick. You need to quickly tear papers. You need to make aeroplane of it, and you need to give it a flight. So there was roles divided. There was one developer who will develop it. There was one tester who will test the plane. In uh, in software development mode, it was played in that way. So at that one time, I took that, okay, I'll make the planes. I'll be the developer. I'll make the planes. So okay, there was BA who got the requirement. What kind of planes should it be? How flight it should take? He came. He explained it to us. I was like, okay. So now there were so many engineers. Now this experience in my school days, it helped me so much. I was the first one in the time the other people were making one or two planes. I was able to make quickly. Like I just fold, do fold. My planes were ready. Most 3D flights were of my plane, of the airplane which I made. So that experience, which I never thought is going to help me anyway, that helped me to gain points for my team in one of our teams. That was the first competition, and we won that competition, and that made my me what to say. This other people came to know about me in that team, and people, and then from next point of time, the people want to take me in their team, right? Before that competition, I was just a normal member, a buffer resource for that project. I wasn't having any proper work also. And after just that project, I got communicating with, we started communicating with everyone. Everyone used to come to me and talk to me, guide me, and all things. You see, my that aeroplane thing on which I used to waste pages of my notepad helped me here. Nothing more to learn in your life never goes waste.
Yeah.
Everything you are learning is adding up to your knowledge, is adding up to your experience. Though it be good, though it be bad, just what you need to make sure that whatever you are doing at this current moment, you need to do it with great dedication and complete discipline. If you are not loyal to the work which you're doing right now, you won't be able to loyal with the thing which you wanted to do. So this is one
Yeah.
thing. Whatever you learn will help you. You just need to be dedicated and loyal to it.
Definitely. So these are very important closing words from you, because the we often end up saying that it's not just our parents, it's even us. We feel that this is wastage of time, doing this. Even a lot of people, I remember during our college days, they used to be like, what will happen using these projects, etc. Learn some coding, learn some stuff. Yeah, learning coding is important. I won't disagree with
Mm.
that, especially today's
No, but if
interview.
you are from, yeah, no, if you are from EC, you want to be an EC engineer, you don't want to land up an IT job, then definitely you can go for projects and you can omit coding, provided you are from EC and you don't want to come in IT.
Yeah,
Or maybe you
no,
have
even the point that we were, no, that's definitely important. Staying to your domain, that's another thing. But even then, whatever you're
yeah,
learning, it never goes to waste. This is
yes, definitely.
probably the highlight of today's interview session.
Yeah.
So, having that in mind, I would like to thank you a lot, CP Bhaiya. I hope our audience have also learned a lot from this session, and they have gained a lot of useful insight from your experiences that you have had at Decode, at TCS, at EPAM as well right now. So, I would like to thank you, and I would request our audience that if you have any questions, like any further questions which you couldn't gather from this session of today, you can put it down in the comment section, and we'll try our best to answer it. I hope CP Bhaiya will also, if he gets time, obviously out of his busy schedule, he'll try to give in a couple of answers as well. Thanks a lot to our sponsors for today, laptopservice24.com. I hope that our audience can. Often it happens that in this work from home module, you do not have someone who is dedicated to repairing your laptops, even something that you have in offices mostly. So I believe that laptopservice24.com can help you a lot in this aspect. Thanks a lot to Coordinate Academy for organizing this meetup with CPDA, and I hope that we'll come up with a lot more experiences. So, CPDA, any last words for our viewers?
Yeah, just one thing, whatever you are doing, do it honestly, do it with full dedication. Do it be right or wrong, we'll decide it, we'll see it. But whatever you are doing, do not leave any stone unturned. for it. That's all what I would say.
That's important. That's actually the motto which can help you in any field, not just in this field of computer science and IT jobs and everything. So that being said, thank you, and to all our viewers, I hope you have already subscribed to Coordinate Academy. If you haven't, just click on that button. It's down below, and don't forget to like and share this interview experience with our friends, your friends, and their contacts. Somebody who is pursuing this field or pursuing any field in life, because you get to learn a lot of things from nowhere. Like, even just as we learned from this interview, even a kite making, sorry, not kite, I mean a paper plane
Plain.
making, yeah, paper plane making experience worked out a lot in team bonding. And that's why, in fact, that's why they have those sessions in TCS and in companies like that. So let's look forward to another interview experience soon. Till then, bye.